Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi-channa Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bekhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bekhari Gopi-channa Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi-channa Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bekhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bekhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bekhari Jayom Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrayakacharya Astottara Sajri Shrimat His Divine Grace Saisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय भक्ति वेदांत मानोर की जय श्री श्री गौरानिताय की जय Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Srimate Satsvaruptas Swami Niti Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Chayam Mudirayet Nashta Prajeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for coming for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is third canto, chapter 12, entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Was this chosen in purpose for the Sangha or just was chosen by Krishna by time arrangement? Because the verse is about it's the Kumaras, so it's ongoing. And Krishna arranges everything timely. Text number 4. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atatmabhu sanat kumaram chamunin nishkriyan urdvaretasaha sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atatmabhu sanat kumaram chamunin nishkriyan urdvaretasaha sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atatmabhu sanat kumaram chamunin nishkriyan urdvaretasaha. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atatmabhu sanat kumaram chamunin sanat kumaram chamunin nishkriyan urdvaretasaha sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam atatmabhu sanat kumaram chamunin Nishkriyan urdhvaretasaha. Ladies. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam athatmabu sanat kumaram cha munin nishkriyan urdhvaretasaha. Srila Prabhupada's translation on purport. Sanakam, Sanaka, Cha, also, Sanandam, Sananda, Cha, and, Sanatanam, Sanatana, Atha, thereafter, Atmabhuhu, Brahma, who is self-born, Sanat Kumaram, Sanat Kumara, Cha, also, Munin, the great sages, Nishkriyan, free from all fruitive action, Urdhvare Tasaha, those whose semen flows upwards. Translation. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Purport. Although Brahma created the principles of nations as a matter of necessity for those living entities who were destined to ignorance by the will of the Lord, he was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task. He therefore created 4 principles of knowledge: Sankhya, or empirical philosophy, for the analytical study of material conditions; Yoga, or mysticism, for liberation of the pure soul from material bondage; Vairagya, the acceptance of complete detachment from material enjoyment in life to elevate oneself to the highest spiritual understanding; and tapas, or the various kinds of voluntary austerities performed for spiritual perfection. Brahma created the 4 great sages, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat, to entrust them with these 4 principles of spiritual advancement, and they inaugurated their own spiritual party, or Sampradaya, known as the Kumara Sampradaya, or later on as then Nimbarka Sampradaya, for the advancement of bhakti. All of these great sages became great devotees, for without devotional service to the personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve success in any activity of a spiritual value. Sanakam cha sanandam cha sanatanam athatmabhuhu sanat kumaram cha munin nishkriyan urdhva retasaha. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakambitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripride Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the previous verses, in the beginning of this chapter, it is described how Lord Brahma, at one point in creation, in the beginning means in one of his creations. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur explains that actually this took place in the second half of Brahma's life. That means it was one of his creations, because after the creation of the night of Brahma, he recreates. Like everybody cleans his or her room and the houses, right? So Lord Brahma also puts everything in place after the night when he wakes up. Chakravarti Thakur mentions that the Kumaras were already there, but they became manifested at this point. But they existed from the beginning. They are the first sages. So he had created 5 types of ignorance, which we conditioned souls, we need in order to exist in the material world. Unless we are affected by ignorance, we cannot exist here. So maybe together we can remember them, the 5 types of ignorance. Some of you were here in the previous days, some of you were not, but you may have studied in the Bhagavatam. Tamas. Amdatamishra, yes. Okay, Amdatamishra. What's the meaning of Amdatamishra? Blind darkness, but specifically it is translated as the sense of death, fear of death. And the sense of death, we are actually eternal, but we are in Amdatamishra, we have these bodies, and we have the sense of dying. Even if we believe and we hope we will not die soon, but the sense of death is there. And therefore, when something happens, we get very scared. Okay, Amdatamishra, what else? You have to speak up because I'm a bit deaf. Maha Moha. What's the meaning?
I think it's false proprietorship. Not sure.
False proprietorship, yes. The great illusion of thinking that everything in the world is meant for our enjoyment, and then we can take possession of it. Tamishra, meaning is Tamishra, anger. Anger arising out of frustration. Two more. Tamas. Tamas means vismriti, or forgetfulness of our identity as eternal souls, servants of Krishna. That's actually the first one. We forget and then we enter into the material world. And one more? Moha. Bodily identification.
Then asmita, then rag and dvesha, then abhiniveshita. They're just different translations of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm referring to text 2, but yes, thank you, Maharaj. Yeah, and these statements are also sometimes in different shastras. These are explained. In the Bhagavatam, it's there in Vishnu Purana, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, all these are explained. So these different types of avidya or ignorance condition us to how we are now, to false identification, false ego, attachment, and so on. So in order to counteract this, Lord Brahma created the 4 Kumaras, 4 great sages. And the 4 Kumaras are Shakti Avesha avatars, or empowered incarnations of the Lord, with Jnana Shakti, the potency of transcendental knowledge. And through Jnana, one comes to awaken one's consciousness, and when Jnana becomes mature, then it transforms into devotional service, into bhakti. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavamam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. The Bhagavad Gita states that after many births, cultivating jnana, transcendental knowledge, one comes to the point of surrender to Krishna. And basically, one comes to realize that just by intellectual approach, that's not sufficient. Just by theoretical understanding, that's not possible to understand God. Few weeks ago, I had a meeting with His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj. It was actually a Zoom meeting. I went to Berlin to visit the devotees, but I couldn't see Maharaj because he was going to do a tour. But then we had a Zoom meeting. At least I was in Berlin. He stays in Berlin 1 hour from Berlin, so at least I could benefit from his association. So then he was reading, recently he had read about Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj, who was very much appreciated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as a Mahabhagavata, a pure devotee of the Lord. And he mentioned that there was one gentleman who went to see him and asked a question, Babaji Maharaj, how can I attain God? And Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj didn't reply. He was engaged serving his deity, doing different things. He didn't say a word. So out of respect, he didn't insist. Okay, Babaji Maharaj doesn't have an answer now. Okay, I'll wait. After some time he came back and he asked the same question. How can one attain God? So Babaji Maharaj didn't reply again. He continued engaged in his seva. The visitor, out of respect again, didn't insist. After some time he comes back for the third time, and then Babaji Maharaj says, "What was your question? What was your question about attaining God?" He replied with one word, 3 letters. Cry. He didn't say anything else. Cry. So this is we need to come to the point. Jnana should bring us to the point of crying, because by ourselves we cannot do it. Transcendental knowledge counteracts ignorance, and here 4 principles are described, represented by the 4 Kumaras. So these will be 4 principles of jnana, transcendental knowledge. Sankhya, so this will be philosophy. Philosophy is important to understand life from a philosophical viewpoint. Yoga, self-discipline, self-control. Vairagya, detachment, to be able to let go. Many times we become attached to something as if it was all, and it's just something that has to pass by. Let it go. And what was the last one? Help me, please. Tapas, austerity. Voluntary acceptance of inconveniences or apparent inconveniences for higher purpose in life, for higher realization. This can be, for instance, rise early in the morning. Some people, I don't know, maybe British people, well, you're from many countries, but maybe British people don't like to sleep so much. And from Spain, Spanish people do like to sleep. So that's an austerity, to rise early in the morning for a higher purpose, for practicing sadhana bhakti, the practices of hearing, chanting, worshipping and remembering Krishna in the association of devotees. So these principles are very important, and the 4 Kumaras, they are known for becoming devotees. So they are described as Gyanis who became devotees. And together with Sri Shukadeva Goswami, they are emblematic in terms of representing how true transcendental knowledge implies to surrender to Krishna and to offer devotional service to Krishna and to become attracted to Krishna. Krishna is supremely attractive. And therefore the Bhagavatam states, Tasya Ravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antargata Svavivarena Chakarate Sham Sanchobam Akshara Yusham Apichitta Tamvo. This is in the 3rd canto. The translation is, when the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of those sages, they experience a change both in body and in minds, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Like you have here, how do you call it, the becoming a monk experience. How is that? Be a monk challenge. Okay, challenge, because people like to fight nowadays. They come, I put my tattoos and come to the challenge, to take the challenge. So this be a monk challenge, so the idea is to experience, isn't it? Why, like those of you, I think the ladies are coming, some for the, who is here for the Be a Monk challenge? Any ladies here? Thank you. Anyone else? Good. Okay, you look a bit soft people, not tough people. But I say because the Be a Monk challenge look like heavy people, like tattoos type. Isn't it? No, that's what people, the more tattoos you have, the more tough you. I mean, I don't understand. I'm from another generation. Please forgive me if I say something offensive. I don't want to offend anybody. But the more tattoos you get today, it's like you are more intense people, no? Is that the... But anyway, the point is that it is about experience. Experience, so we want to experience. So the four Kumaras, they experience the aroma of the lotus feet of the Lord in an incredible, for them was incredible. They were completely self-realized. They were at the level of Brahma Bhuta, complete transcendental existence. They didn't see difference between male and female. They didn't see difference between mine and theirs. They saw unity. They were situated in monism. The presence of Brahman, the greatest, the divine, present all time. But when they experienced the aroma of the lotus feet of the Lord, they felt this is different. This is like nothing else we have experienced anywhere. And then they experienced a transformation in body, mind, and soul. So this is the potency of the process of bhakti that transforms one to higher levels. The ojas, like here it is mentioned, urdhvareta, in yoga practice, the energy is sublimated, like the sexual energy is sublimated to the higher chakras. For devotees, ojas means to have a good kirtan, like we had very nice kirtan. That's the ojas. Go upwards and then the devotees start jumping, confirm. So that's the ojas. We don't do it in mechanical ways. So the process of bhakti, we don't need to do anything, just to surrender to Krishna and let us be carried out by him. But what we need to do, as Bamsidas Babaji said, we need to cry. Because the problem is that we are too proud. We do not cry enough. At least I'm talking for myself. Srila Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion that we need to learn this little technique. He calls it something like this, little technique of crying for Krishna. So basically that means I am fallen, I'm in this material world, I'm conditioned in so many ways, in my body, in my mind, in my spiritual realization. It's very meager, insignificant. And cry not only to Krishna, but to Krishna's devotees. Like we see Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika, in these two books, he's constantly crying and praying to the spiritual master. His spiritual master is Lokanath Goswami, associate of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. He was one of the first Goswamis, together with Bhugarba Goswami, who went to Vrindavan sent by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the famous 6 Goswamis, Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatan, and so on, went to Vrindavan. So he prays to Lokanath Goswami, his spiritual master. He prays to Sri Rupa Goswami, to all the different Goswamis, to Sri Nityananda, to the associates of Lord Chaitanya, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the gopis. He's praying to everyone, to all the devotees, to give him bhakti. So we need to learn this technique of crying. It's not a technique, external technique, but needs to come out from the soul. Sometimes nowadays we talk about soulful chanting. His Holiness Sasvaru Maharaj referred to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, as, if I remember correctly the expression, soul eyes, that Srila Prabhupada will see with his eyes. He was seeing from the soul outside. This can be even seen in video. If you have seen the video when Srila Prabhupada is in his last days in Vrindavan, he's been carried in the palanquin. His body is totally emaciated, and you can see his eyes are completely awake. A person not of this world, completely awake and totally detached from his body. So this is what Sasvaru Maharaj calls soul eyes. Maybe later some of Srila Prabhupada's disciples may like to, who saw Srila Prabhupada personally, like to comment on their experience. I remember in France, in New Mayapur, there was one of the first Spanish devotees. He left this world some years, quite a number of years back. Shuchi Shrava Prabhu, he joined ISKCON in New Mayapur in France, and then he came to Spain with other devotees, and they opened the movement in Spain. He registered ISKCON in Spain, 1976. He said when he saw Srila Prabhupada, he couldn't stop crying. His feelings, he didn't know why, but the Srila Prabhupada's presence was so intense, full of transcendental potency, he couldn't start crying. And it seems that many devotees, I have heard testimony of several devotees that had a similar experience. And this is the power of bhakti, bhakti shakti. Srila Prabhupada explains that Sri Narada Muni, he is in charge of, he's the empowered incarnation of bhakti. So the Kumaras are the empowered incarnation of jnana, and they bring us to bhakti. They teach us how the goal of jnana is bhakti. And Sri Narada Muni, he teaches bhakti by chanting the holy names of the Lord wherever he goes. So this is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement, to come to that point of first to know Krishna, to get knowledge of Krishna by hearing, And now our relationship with Krishna, this is called Sambandha. Understand that we are connected, eternally connected to Krishna. We do not need any artificial connection. People are seeking connections through the devices, but we do not need such artificial connections. We may use them in Krishna's service, but we do not really need them. Ultimately, we have an eternal connection with Krishna. This is called Sambandha Jnana, and then come to the point of engaging ourselves on that foundational knowledge of our eternal identity as eternal souls and servants of Krishna. And this naturally will bring us to the point of crying for Krishna. When we practice sufficiently, then we see the need, we need to cry. And if we don't feel the need to cry because I don't cry. Or cry because I don't cry for crying. Or cry because I don't cry for crying, like that. We need to start at some point. It is not so much about our personal endeavor, it is about just let us being carried by Krishna and by the power of the devotion of the devotees. By becoming servants and followers of the devotees, then we can progress in devotional service. If we try to do it by ourselves, then it becomes incomplete. Because still we have the Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvacha Ahankara Vimuttatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. We still believe we are the doers. So actually we are, as Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Nimitta Matram Bhavasavya Sachin. Just become an instrument. Don't try to do it yourself, but just surrender and be engaged by me. And then everything happens. And this is applicable in any condition of life. Brahmacharis, grihastas, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, women, men, children, old people, people on the deathbed, everyone can have access to this process of devotional service if we just surrender to the process. Thank you very much for listening patiently. If you'd like to make any comments or questions, Maharajas or senior Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. Yes, Prayojana Prabhu. Is there a mic or?
It occurred to me when you say that they're crying, but there are some people that are crying for association of devotees in different parts of the world. You know, they're completely isolated. You know, as they're in Ukraine or wherever, they're even in Russia, they're crying for association of devotees because of the environment they're in. Okay.
Yes, that's. It is good that they are crying for association, and as we are servants, our duty is to, as far as we can, to visit those persons who want association of devotees. Or some people may be crying and they don't know. Like I remember yesterday in the seminar, I referred to my Sankirtan leader, Parampurusha Prabhu. He left this world also some years back. And he told me his experience. Before joining, he was a professional. He had money, he had material enjoyment. He was doing work for the Arabic embassies, Arabic countries, Saudi Arabia, Libya, Syria, Iran, all these places for the embassies, decoration and so on. But he was frustrated. And he told me that one time he was so desperate that he put his head on the floor. He was about 40 years old. Put his head on the floor, praying to God, crying actually. Please, Lord, if you are there somewhere, please help me. I'm suffering. I have money, I have connections, I have a family, but I'm suffering like a dog. Please help me. And then he met devotees. So, yeah, if people, when someone cries for God, regardless of the place, Krishna answers and sends someone, a devotee. And the duty of the devotees is to travel and to organize the movement in such a way that in every province, I don't know what's the system, every county here, you have counties? In every county and every town and village in the UK or in your respective countries, France, Germany, Russia, or wherever, Argentina, and we have devotees from so many countries, Spain, to organize things in such a way that someone who wants to meet devotees in person doesn't have to travel too far away. It is our duty to organize the movement in this way. Like here now in the UK, the manor is sending preachers to different places. This is the idea, so that people who are crying for the association of devotees, they will have it. Is that okay for the answer? Is that okay? Yes? Any other questions or comments?
Thank you very much for the inspiring class. I was trying to cry for Krishna, and then a couple of times my tears were flowing, and then some devotees told me, like, I must have been doing it fake or wrong, because they told me, like, this is Sahajya, or they said, like, there is warm tears and cold tears, and one of those is fake, but you are doing it in the wrong way. So how to know how to cry?
Yeah, we should be careful not to stop the enthusiasm of the devotees. If someone cries for Krishna, crying for Krishna is good. We shouldn't discourage. Of course, yes, we don't want to do something for show. But I remember there is one letter, one disciple writes to Srila Prabhupada about crying. I think was a lady, and Srila Prabhupada encouraged her, didn't say don't cry. That's what I remember having read. I don't remember having read Srila Prabhupada saying, devotees, stop crying, you are Sahajya. But anyway, I don't want to criticize anybody who may feel that, but okay, sometimes we don't cry publicly, and that's fine.
I have some feeling that I'm doing something wrong, because I keep getting in some morose mood, and I think I have some fake conception of the crying, because then I'm longer time in some morose mood, but we want to be in jolly mood. But how to combine it with crying?
Yeah, spiritual crying is not miserable. but it is actually a source of bliss because it connects us to Krishna. So it's a bit paradoxical because in one sense it appears to be moroseness, like when Lord Chaitanya was crying in ecstasy and experiencing all the ecstatic transformations, devotees were thinking it's terrible how the body of Lord Chaitanya is becoming transformed. But when Lord Chaitanya was brought by the devotees through chanting of kirtan to external consciousness, Lord Chaitanya said, "Why did you bring me here? I was experiencing Krishna's pastimes. Why did you bring me here?" So of course this cannot be imitated, but the point is that the crying for Krishna is a blissful experience. It's acknowledging my need, my real need. If I don't acknowledge my real need, how will I fulfill it? It is not possible. If I start killing people, like some people are frustrated, and then start attacking people, now it's like a fashion. Take a weapon and start shooting people. This is the Tamishra and Andatamishra. Anger, so much frustration, the sense of death. I want to die myself, I want to kill others. It becomes the lowest type of ignorance. But the crying for Krishna is different. It's connecting us to, when I cry for God, God will answer our crying.
Thank you for your lecture. I was thinking about when you spoke about crying, that is included maybe in the 6 requirements from surrender, so Saranagati. I mean, at least 3 of them, like depending on Krishna, being humble, and see that Krishna is our maintainer. So also we can develop that in that mood, crying, and that's a sign of surrender.
Very good, thank you. Yes, Sharanagati, for those who are not familiar, is the signs of surrender to God. And there are 6 principles of surrender. Accepting whatever is favorable to surrender to Krishna, rejecting the unfavorable, trusting that Krishna will take care of us, depending on Krishna, knowing that Krishna will bring me whatever I need, he will bring it for me. I don't need to worry. Developing the same will of the Lord, accepting and following the will of God, and becoming meek and humble in life. So these are principles of surrender, which are, this crying mood is there in the heart. There was one of the ladies had a question. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Maharaj. In the course of the class, you mentioned that even someone on the deathbed can be an instrument for Krishna. So I was thinking that someone on the deathbed is in a very helpless condition and needing a lot of care from others. And I was just wondering how such a person can become an instrument. If you can kindly enlighten us.
Thank you for your question. Yes, here when I am in Bhaktivedanta Manor, one of the devotees I remember sometimes is Her Grace Yamuna Devi Dasi, still a Prabhupada's disciple. I saw her doing kirtan here. She was quite fiery, like with the brahmacharya. She was like doing kirtan here in the manor. So she was in. I was told, I was not there, but I was told that she was in her deathbed, and she was, as you know, many of you who knew her or who have heard about her, she was an excellent cook. She was trained by Srila Prabhupada for cooking, and she became also more experienced and wrote several cookbooks. And she liked to cook for Krishna and for the devotees. So one devotee went to see her in the Bhaktivedanta hospital in Mumbai, and she asked the devotee, she said, I'm sorry, I'm here in my death, in this bed, I cannot do any service. But she asked that devotee what prasadam would like to take. And she said, she cooking her mind. So she gave a lesson to this devotee how to engage her mind in the service she liked to do for the devotees when she was physically unable to do it. And also Srila Prabhupada, also we read in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, the last lesson is entitled the last chapter. So devotees also teach us how to die. This devotee, Parampurusha Prabhu, my Sankirtan leader, he passed away in the temple, not in the temple room, but in the next room to the temple in New Brajamandala. And a few days ago, I was traveling by train to Barcelona from Guadalajara, near New Brajamandala, farm community near Madrid. And one gentleman came, an elderly gentleman, came to me and said, oh, you are a Hare Krishna. And he said, can I ask you a question? He said, I'm a surgeon, and I did some medical care, and he did medical care many years back for my Sankirtan leader, Parampurusha Prabhu, the leader of a purgatory. Those of you who heard yesterday the story, purgatory, he was a very strong person. He had a very deep voice, and he caused a very profound impression on this man. And he was practically on his deathbed. He had cancer in her bladder or whatever. And the doctor told me, the surgeon, yes, he asked to be taken to your community to die. And the devotees who were there, they had an impression, a powerful impression. He was very peaceful, conscious, and the devotees were doing kirtan, very serene. So that was his preaching, his lesson. He couldn't speak up as he used to be. His traveling Sankirtan party, for those of you who were not there, was called the Purgatory because he was very strong training devotees. If he will correct a young devotee and will argue back, he will say, this is false ego. And then if he will argue back, this is false ego, kill it inside. That was his mood. But he couldn't do that in the end. He was very peaceful, completely peaceful. And devotees receive a lesson in this way, by example. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
The last question of today, thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, not a question. I just wanted to add a bit about Yamuna Devi, because she was very sick in the Bhaktivedanta hospital, but she left and carried on her amazing preaching, absolutely wonderful, pure devotee, I would say. But when she actually left her body, she was at home with her colleague, her friend, Dina Tarini, and Dina Tarini had just gone. She just decided to take rest early, and Yamuna said, "No, I'm just staying. Stay up a bit longer." And in the morning, Dina Tarini came through, and she saw Yamuna just sitting on the settee with a hand in her bead bag like this, and she had left. So it was very glorious as well. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.